Hey there, Investorholics! Did you know that Sezzle and Afterpay are planning on listing in the United States? I'd like to take a quicker look at this, or a closer look at it, just to sort of give you guys an overview. Like you might be able to get a nice idea of what actual opportunities or possibilities there are for the listing. So hang around and hopefully this is enjoyable.
Hey there, Investorholics! This is Scott. KrackTheSky Value Investing will be giving you up-to-date investing news and content so you can navigate the markets wherever you are. My mission is to give you the knowledge and confidence to take control of your personal finances, expand your investment horizons, and crack your financial sky.
So I thought it'd be interesting just to give you a quick overview of the top 10 listed stocks on the ASX by market cap. So we've got number one there, we've got Afterpay, then Zip, then Latitude, which listed in the last week. Sezzle, which we'll be having a chat about, Hum, then we've got Splitit, then OpenPay, then IOU, then Laybuy, and lastly there is the Minnow, which is Doe. They're sort of a quasi bank as well. So Afterpay said that they are currently working with external advisors to explore options for a US listing, given that the US is now their largest contributor to income. So I think that's probably like the main reason they're going to try and do that. They mentioned that they're going to stay a company that is actually headquartered in Australia, so the business will be run in Australia, but because they're becoming more of a global company, they think that having a listing in the US will give them greater exposure. So in regards to a decision to go forward with a US listing, the board said there's actually no timeline set. So take out of that what you will. To me, it says, there's a lot of water to go on the bridge, and it's definitely not certain. Okay, let's skip along to Sezzle. They've recently announced that they're going to follow Afterpay's decision in trying to attempt a listing in the US. So that's something to keep an eye on, and we'll just quickly go through what they said in their recent quarterly as well. The company said in their quarterly that they do intend to file the paperwork with the Securities and Exchange Commission as they intend to complete their IPO. As with all things, really there's no timeline. As with Afterpay, there's no timeline or anything given on this. So pretty much everything's up in the air, and it may or may not go ahead. If either of these companies did actually list, what options would there be for them to list, and how would it affect Australian investors? So we'll just have a quick look at that as well. Most likely, both Afterpay and Sezzle would probably try to list on NASDAQ, as that's kind of like the more techie type, sort of new technology, new flavor index that's in the States. So you've got all the big tech companies that are listed on the NASDAQ. So your first and most drastic option would be for Sezzle and Afterpay to actually delist all their shares in the Australian Stock Exchange and then complete a new listing on one of the exchanges in America. In that circumstance, the most likely outcome would be that the shares in the ASX, shares that are owned by the ASX investors, would be swapped to the US shares if they did actually delist from the Australian exchange. Another option would be a dual listing. So that means you would have shares listed in Australia. So if you're an Australian shareholder, you could still keep your shares, but then they'd also list in the United States. So there are examples of that type of thing happening in Australia, most notably BHP and Rio Tinto. They're both listed on the London Stock Exchange, and I think BHP is also maybe both listed in New York as well, on New York Stock Exchange. So the third option would be a CDI, That's similar to a dual listing, but not quite the same. So a CDI can be described as a type of certificate, I suppose, that indicates that you have a discretionary or beneficiary interest in a share in a company listed on another exchange. So in Australia, you could buy a CDI, I think it's ResMed. So they're not directly listed here, but you can buy the CDI, which says that you actually own a share, and because they're listed in America on the New York Stock Exchange, I think. So as always, I don't think there's anything to really fear about this, because they're either going to have to buy your shares back, or delist here and relist in another market. I don't think that's necessarily going to be bad, but as with all these things, reading through both these releases, nothing's set in stone. It could all just be, a bit of smoke and mirrors just to try to generate some more interest here in Australia. Because as these things go along, I think the interest in these companies is actually going to drop off a bit. I don't think they're going to die or anything like that, but I think it's just going to drop off. So if they can stimulate some more interest, that might be the way to go. Listing in the US market is probably one of the easy ways to do that, but then again, the US market is quite crowded. So especially if these smaller companies want to go and list there, they might actually get lost in the noise of the market over there. But I think it's likely that neither of them do, but more likely that Afterpay will. As with all investing, everyone has their own opinion, so let's just wait and see what happens. Hopefully this was informational, and crack the sky. Are you interested in learning more about personal finance and investing in the markets? If you are, then smash the like here on the left hand side and caress the subscribe button on the right hand side. It's Crack the Sky Value Investing. We'll be giving you up-to-date investing news and content so you can navigate the markets wherever you are. Expand your investment horizon and crack your financial sky. Thanks guys. See you later.